that I cannot just push away and say it should not make it to the big stories. I'm sorry. I did not watch the interview, but I'm going to quote him as seen on Vanguard. He said, Nigeria is a very, he used very twice, which is a signal for emphasis. Nigeria is a very poor country. To be honest, I think our wealth is overestimated. I think we have a poor estimation of the wealth of the country. We are a very poor country. That's what he said. That's what he said. According to the article, the presidential aide added, with the removal of subsidies on petrol and the unification of the exchange rate, the administration is hoping that the pressure on our finances will reduce, which now, would lead us to our next big story. I'll talk about the official rate of the dollar. But before I do, I don't know. How do you see this? How do you judge this? How are you taking this statement from a special advisor? He is an advisor to the president on information and strategy on how to inform the people and about the strategies, or to also help the government strategize on maybe economic policies or how to govern the country. And then it comes out to say that we have an overestimation, or we are exaggerating our wealth. And he's trying to tell us that we're not making as much money. And then you look at the situation of things in the country, the high cost of living. Does it signal that maybe there is no solution inside? I'm asking, I'm not telling you, I'm wondering, and I'm asking you, does this signal that just maybe there is no solution inside? Or is it, bringing us to a realization that we have been living a fake life all this while, and it's time to wake up and smell the coffee and take the bull by the horn and ensure that we can and we should work hard to bring the country, to the level it should be at? So that's my first conversation. My conversation has got to do with the dollar. The dollar is now above 1,500 naira at the official window. Now, for many years, we saw the black market, the parallel market, sell or buy the dollar at a more expensive rate when compared to the official window. But these days, we've now seen, I think for the past 2-3 days, we've seen the dollar at the official window do way, or should I say, become more expensive than the dollar at the unofficial window. Yesterday I was reading the business news, and if you notice, I took a pause because I wondered if the editor had made a mistake with what they had written as the rate for dollar. Now they had written 1,500 plus. And then when I looked at the black market rate was somewhere around 1,400 plus. And then I wondered, was it really a mistake or was that the real deal? Now, I've done my research and I realized that as at sometime this morning, I do not know about now, the dollar was trading for more than 1,500 at the official window, while at the unofficial window, 1,400 plus. Now, remember our conversations yesterday when we were talking big stories. I remember telling you that experts have come out with predictions to say that things might worsen, and I gave you all the different headlines to buttress that point. And I'm looking at the dollar, given that we import almost everything, if not everything, given that we are I can dare say, a dollarized economy, I'm wondering how this will reflect on the prices of goods and services in the marketplace, which then is going to give rise to the question, or give birth to the question, should we revisit some of these policies, most especially the unification of the dollar, or the exchange windows? Should we unify, or should we continue to float the naira? Because it looks like every time we float the naira, things become more expensive. Now, I did see a report earlier today, a news headline. I can't remember which of the papers now. It said in some northern state, I think it mentioned the northern state. Was it a northern state or was it a southwestern state? I can't remember. Petrol is now selling for 100 naira. So there's the likelihood, I'm not praying for that, and I hope it's not true, but there is a possibility that petrol price may go up with the current state of the naira to the dollar. And if that does, it means like I said, I'm afraid of how this will reflect on the how do I put it now? The prices of things in the marketplace. I mean, that's the simplest way to put it, right? So it's now left for you and I to tinker on solutions, to think how we can solve this problem. Should we cry to the government, call on the government to revisit the policy, put things on ground first, or things in place first before you talk about unifying the windows? I'd like to get your thoughts on that one, but first a commercial break. When I come back, the last big story. 26 minutes gone past the hour of 3. You're listening once again to 92.3 Nigeria Info. All right, let's get to the last big story for today. I'm still waiting for your thoughts. Remember, you can send me messages via WhatsApp 0809 0306416. You could also, send messages on Facebook. We're live on Facebook, Nigeria Info PH. We're live on YouTube, Nigeria Info PH, and we're active on X, Nigeria Info PH. Or you could also interact with me on social media, Dkalada, TheKalada. All right, so yeah, I was going to tell you about my last big story. 42,000 nurses left the country in 3 years, and this is the federal government reacting to the protest against the new certification verification guidelines. Now, remember a couple of days ago, was it over the weekend, we talked about it, or rather we brought you the news. I don't think I talked about it. We brought you the news that there is now a particular certification needed. I think there's always been a certification needed if you want to go work abroad. But for you to get the certification, the new law is that you should have worked as a nurse or a midwife for 2 years in the country before you would be permitted or allowed to leave the country. And so there was a protest yesterday. I think the protest somehow excavated the news, made the news louder. And there was a reaction from the government. There was a reaction. I think yesterday, was it this morning? Just give me a minute there. Okay, yeah, so this is it. The reaction. Okay. So my network is slow, so I was going to read it for you, but I think the network is coming slow. But basically, he said that in the last 3 years, 42,000 people have left, and if nothing is done, how can they safeguard the health sector in the country? Because if these nurses are leaving, he said last year alone, 15,000 nurses left, and there is the possibility that more nurses will leave the country because the numbers keep increasing. And he's saying, how are they going to safeguard? How are they going to, protect the health sector. Now, there is the argument that government somewhat subsidizes, education for students, especially those in the health sector. And there's a quote. It says, now, if we allow every Nigerian to leave as they graduate, who are going to handle our healthcare services? Who is going to provide these services? We are Nigerians, and it's our responsibility to these services. And I'm talking about the Registrar of the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria, Farouk Abubakar. So he said a couple of other things. He spoke. He said, let me make it clear today, in the last 3 years, over 42,000 nurses left this country, and the country needs them. Government policies, especially the present Renew Hope agenda, a lot of policies are coming on board. The Federal Ministry of Health came up with so many policies where Nigerian healthcare system will be improved. So he's saying the system will be improved. The system is being worked on, and it's not fair that these students or these, health workers, when they acquire the knowledge, they take it abroad to go help those other societies and make those other societies better. So, first of all, I'm sorry. There is the human right aspect of the conversation where these people are allowed to move, freedom of movement. They're allowed to leave and enter the country as long as they use proper channels. So do you think the government has that right to stop them? But then there's the argument that if the government invests so much money into, educating Nigerians in the health sector, shouldn't the country reap certain benefits? If 42,000 persons or nurses have left the country in 3 years and more are likely to leave this year, is that not going to affect, extremely the, health sector? Who's going to take care of patients? Who's going to help? Yet again, there is the argument of welfare for nurses. There's the argument of welfare for health workers. And, we've had promises over the years, and they're still making promises up till today. So it's not a straitjacket conversation, but I'd like to get your thoughts, because there are arguments on all sides, and I'm wondering which argument is heavier, which argument holds more water. I'm really wondering, but hey, I'd like to get your thoughts on that one. So these are the big stories. Remember, there's the Jara part of it, radio, a century of radio being in existence or thereabout. I'm wondering, what are your thoughts about how radio is impacting life, and do you think it's fast losing its significance, and how can we improve our radio broadcast? I'd like to hear from you. 0817-923-0002 is the first number to call me with. There is a second number, 0817-923-0003, and I have another number, 0817-923-0007. What's it called now? I received a message on Facebook, my personal Facebook page. Someone said something about a policy where we don't allow old-time callers call. That's a lie. That's not a true policy, or it's not a Nigerian info policy. What we do is we tend to give priority to first-time callers. So if I have about 3 names on my call screener window or app or computer, what I do is I look who called in first. So right now Clinton has called in first from Bori, and so I'm supposed to take Clinton's call. But if there is a new caller, I am most likely to take the new caller before I do Clinton's call. So yeah, I'm going to take Clinton from Bori. Clinton, welcome on the show. What is on your mind? I'd like to hear from you.
Good afternoon, Kalada.
Yeah, good afternoon to you.
Yeah, the statement of Bayo Onanuga is a very, very unfortunate one. Since he repeated very, very, I will repeat my own.
Okay.
No, when we expect leaders, we expect more from leaders like this, especially someone like him, to be very positive about the country. He is saying that Nigeria is very poor, yet they are driving SUVs that amount to hundreds of millions of Nigerian naira.
Interesting.
This money, our own money, Nigerians' money, and yet we are very poor. They have AIDS, and yet we are very poor. They are very poor, and their children are schooling abroad. Yet the money that is taken from Nigeria is the one used in sending their children abroad to school. Their families are abroad, are living abroad. They have properties all over the country, all over the world. Canada is really unfortunate, and I will tell him that Nigeria is a blessed nation.
Right.
Nigeria is a rich country. In fact, in Africa, we are supposed to be number one in terms of resources.
But he's saying that's an exaggeration. That
we are not exaggerating anything. He's the one being ignorant of the fact.
Okay, all right then.
The resources we have in this country, Canada, is poor management. Politicians have managed our resources poorly. Is it our fault that the naira keep on dropping against the dollar every day? The peasant farmer in the village will not go and sustain the naira against the dollar. Is it not their own duty as special advisors to the president to advise the president on what to do so that the naira will get its value?
All right,
It's coming out of media to tell us that we are the product of noise.
I've got to go. I've got to go,
the
Clinton.
The president should remove such a person.
All right. Thank you very much, Clinton. I've got to go. Really, you're so passionate about it. But I've got good news from Port Harcourt. Good news after you, Victor from Umukrushi. All right, let's get your thoughts, please.
Good morning, my brother, man.
It's afternoon. Good afternoon to you, please.
Good afternoon, sir. The condition in Nigeria has led me to be speaking in teeth. I think Bayo Onanuga, if I am Mr. President, I will sack him. Except he's speaking my mind.
Okay.
You don't tell me that Nigeria is poor. If you come to the Niger Delta, we have too much of liquid gold. You go to the north, we have too much minerals.
But good news. Good news.
Yes.
We have not been able to harness all of these things you've mentioned. I'm guessing that's why they are saying that Nigeria is poor and that our wealth is exaggerated or over-exaggerated, because you have all of these things, but what have you been able to do with it?
Repeat your question.
I'm saying we've not been able to harness all of these mineral resources, and maybe that's why Bayo is saying that Nigeria is poor.
No. First of all, let us agree that Nigeria is not poor, but the utensils, the brains to harnessing it. If you tell me that him as Onanuga and the leader and the former ministers and other leaders are poor in their brain, so that they cannot think out how to make this things work better, but saying that Nigeria is poor is an insult to Nigeria. Take example from what is happening in the health sector. Now, they are saying that they're going to bring one or two wicked policies that the unless as a nurse, except you study 2 years, you cannot go abroad. Those persons, they are saying study 2 years, or that we are there on scholarship. The government of Nigeria trains them.
But there are conversations about subsidized education, so there is that possibility.
There's no subsidized education in Nigeria. Where we have subsidized something in Nigeria is in the HICS trucks. The Mitrovara trucks, that's why they have subsidized.
No, they have subsidized education, actually, they do.
Yeah, now, we are telling you, nation. There's a subsidized education. That's from what I know. Yeah? You will see that, you know that this is the price, that this amount we are paying for. That people pay these things, and they at times students will protest, like in the early 2000s, early 90s. We protest when they are increasing school fees.
Okay.
So if the subsidize, they will say, no, this is the amount that we want to do this way. So my brother, man, the truth is that the persons piloting the leadership of Nigeria, I ask myself question, what's the question? Why is it that next year at one, under 2 years, even when you were sick, the poor masses were feeling governance? Why is it that the last president that left, Buhari, whenever he left, under few weeks, that to sit on job with rule, Nigeria to start feeling the impact of governance? What really happened?
All right then.
Good news.
All right, good news. Thank you. I've got Victor from Umukrushi. Victor, sorry for keeping you that long. Welcome on the show. What is on your mind? I'd like to hear.
Okay, Canada, let me see if the credit card carry me.
It can. They still we should pray. So I'm praying for your credit right now. It will carry you.
Now, look at it.
Okay, go ahead.
I used to listen to one of my callers that used like saying that we are conquered.
Oh, indeed, the airtime. My prayer did not work. Okay, sorry. Keep those calls coming in. Let's look at this on WhatsApp. Let's see, what do I have here? This one says, in a country where just one person. Okay, I think the WhatsApp platform is still loading, so I'm just going to take another call. I've got Obed, and Obed is calling from Port Harcourt. Obed, welcome on the show. It's good to hear from you.
Good afternoon, Canada.
Yeah, good afternoon to you.
Yes, Canada, the statement of Bayo Onanuga is an insult to Nigeria, honestly. It means that under 7 months, Nigeria has become poor in the hands of the principal. You understand? That is what it shows clearly. If Bayo Onanuga will come out to say that Nigerian wealth is being over exaggerated, it means that under 7 months, Nigerians have become poor in the hands of his principal. I don't know if you know Bullion Van, that story of Bullion Van. The same principle of Bayo Onanuga. So if Nigerians are poor, where are those Bullion Vans coming from? You understand? So I think somehow
he did not say he did not say Nigerians are poor. He said Nigeria is a very, very poor country. They're two different things. And Bullion Van situation, we saw, of course, reactions from
Bullion Van situation. Bullion Van is among Nigeria.
No, I mean, it is. We don't have a proof. See, Obed, you know the rules on the show. We don't make.
I can hear you, Canada. I'm hearing you clearly.
Now, when you say Bullion Van, are you saying it's not his personal money? Are you saying it is his personal money?
I didn't say so.
Exactly.
I didn't say so.
So if it is personal money, we cannot equate that conversation or even use that reference, to the issue of Nigeria being poor.
Nigeria is poor. That includes his principal, right?
You still get. That's what I'm saying. You're still You're not talking about Nigerians. For instance, we have the richest man in Africa in Nigeria. Does not mean Nigeria is not poor. I mean, we have rich billionaires in Africa. It doesn't mean Africa is not doing greatly when it comes to economy. So you want to look at it from that angle.
Canada, however, I must tell you that Nigeria is not poor. You understand?
Okay. Right.
Nigeria is a very great nation and has natural resources that can transform this country.
Okay.
You understand?
All right.
So it's an indictment to even his principal.
All right.
His statement, I must tell you.
All right.
Then on the issue of North.
Summarize, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please. In 1 minute, tell me about the issue of the
I think the government should be able to come up with a policy to address the welfare of health workers instead of coming up with obnoxious policy to stifle on their right to travel any part of the world, to be able to exercise whatever they have learned. The Constitution guarantees it. You cannot stop people from moving wherever they want to move. Make your system to look very good. People will stay here.
All right, then.
You understand?
All right.
So that is it.
All right, thank you, Obed. Obed, I've got to go. Gift from Yenegwa. Welcome, Gift. It's good to have you. Sorry for the long wait. But what's on your mind?
Alada, there's no cause for alarm.
Okay.
Good afternoon, my brother.
Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, thank you. Nigeria is poor. I want to align myself with Bayo Onanuga. You know, Canada, in this country, the truth is always bitter.
Something like that.
I am telling you, the truth is always bitter.
Okay.
And that is the bitter truth.
Okay.
It's as if now, if Nigeria is rich, why is the country this way? If Nigeria is rich, the way we are aiming, forget about what politicians have been stealing and all the rest. Corruption. Corruption is all over. Can you compare Nigeria GDP and that of South Africa, Kenya? We should just do the research and find out Nigeria is very, very poor. The man is 100% right. Do you know what Nigeria is paying as credit as we speak today? Almost all the wealth you're making, the subsidy removal. That is why I'm even angry with our governor. All of them. I'm not exempting even the one of ISIS. Doyediri. Look at the amount that they are receiving in the name of subsidy removal. What is on ground? What is happening? Just manage that little. Show concern. They will not. But if you compare Nigeria with other African nations, whether South Africa, West African nations, find out. You are there right now, Canada. Just Google, then you will know that Onanuga is saying the truth. You have mineral resources all over the country. Does not mean you are rich.
Okay. All right.
That is the mistake we are making.
All right. Thank you.
When I talk about gold, you talk about line, you talk about water resources. Look at it is only Lagos that is even making use of the water bodies.
Okay, I've got
all of this
I've got to go. I've got to go. Gift. I've got to go.
Thank you, my brother. We are very, very poor. Thank you.
Ezek came from Ubumini. Welcome. What is on your mind?
Good afternoon, Canada.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Ezek.
Happy World Radio Day,
thank you very much. Thank you.
You see, Nigeria would have been poor if we had nothing like natural resources. So if you ask me, Nigeria is extremely rich. But it is unfortunate that an advisor from the presidency is telling the whole world that Nigeria is poor. No matter the condition, the situation, who are the people making Nigeria to be poor? It is the same people. They did not use, they don't want to use, and they are not even telling us or thinking on how to use our natural resources to prove to the world that Nigeria is rich.
Okay.
If you ask me, I will say that Onanuga is the greatest gentleman on the street as far as this administration is concerned.
Is the greatest what?
Thank you very much.
Is the greatest what? What did you say?
Gentleman, he is.
Okay, he's the greatest gentleman. Thank you very much. Break from mile one. Welcome. What is on your mind? I'd like to hear from you.
Hello, greetings to Mr. Batwo.
Yeah, greetings to you, Braid. Welcome.
Happy World Radio Day.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Batwo, I completely disagree with the presidential special advisor.
Okay.
Canada, Nigeria is very, very rich. Nigeria is poor. And they are buying almost 100 million naira vehicle for National Assembly members. Nigeria is poor. They are flying Nigeria Air. Presidential jet is flying all over. Their children are using the flight, using it anyhow they like. Ministers are buying vehicles, building houses in almost all states. Our governors are buying vehicles, they are building houses. Look at any governor that leaves the seat of Rivers State is contesting president. Imagine how much it takes you to go around the 36 states. Nigeria has natural resources. We have the oil, we have the gold, we have whatever it is.
All right.
We have.
All right.
But the truth is that we have bad managers. We have people that are stealing and stacking dollars. They don't think of building industry. And they are telling me.
All right, Brad, I've got to go.
Bring out the money, the dollars they are stacking somewhere.
All right. Then.
Nigeria is very rich.
All right, thank you very much. I'm guessing this is the reason why we have to pray. I know for those of you who did not join the conversation yesterday, you would not understand why I keep insisting on prayer. But for those who listen, would know what I mean by let us pray. We've got to pray. I mean, Nigeria is poor, so we have to pray for riches and pray that money comes our way. Well, let's see. In a country where just one person has looted up to trillions, allegedly, a country that has made millionaires and billionaires in dollars and pounds, we are now hearing that we are a poor country. Is this a distraction to loot more or an excuse not to deliver on your electoral promises? At this point, like Jesus Christ said on the cross, it is finished. But in this case, Nigeria, I'm not going to read your last message or your last word or statement, whichever one it is. But let's go here. It says Nigeria is not a poor country and we don't need to pray to God. for the country to come out of this economic decadence. All we need is a good economic policy led by sound economies, or else more perilous times await everybody, including the politicians who feel they are immune to poverty. Good evening, Canada. They don't thank you. He says, greetings, Canada. The comment of government official that Nigeria is broke is laughable. A country like Nigeria is blessed with human and natural resources. I must say, they are looking for an excuse to cover their lackadaisical attitude in building a formidable economy to better Nigerians. Nicholas Erasmus. The comment of, okay, this one says, good afternoon, my man Kalada. Yesterday's World Radio Day. It is worth remembering today, I guess you meant to say. I, as an individual, got impacted by radio in those good old days when my father used to listen to emo broadcasting services. That was how I was carried. Come to Nigeria Info 92.3 FM. People like Yop Rakpam, Daniel Braid, Marianne Duke-Okon, Eno, Kofi Dai, and so many of you people have kept my love for radio. Imal Taka in Choba. All right, Imal Taka, thank you very much. Let's say this one. This is good afternoon and happy World Radio Day, man of the people on Nigerian Info. Nigeria should change our currency to dollar. The leaders of this country, do they not know that at this point they will have to stabilize the currency, open borders, and let hardship reduce? I am tired of talking about this country's cluelessness. Nigeria is poor, but not poor in their pockets. Lady V with that one. I'm guessing you're talking about the pockets of the politicians, yeah? This is Nigeria is not very, very poor resources-wise, but very, very poor in leadership and management, and super rich in corruption and stealing our collective wealth. That's our problem. Joe from Port Harcourt. Joe, you do have a point, I guess. Brightoner from Uji says, in Nigeria, there is no value for labor, and that's why we keep seeing citizens fleeing out of the country. I am currently working on my papers to flee from Nigeria. All right, Brightoner, you're going for, greener pastures, I guess. All right, good for you. This one says, good afternoon, Mr. KDB. I will advise the president to sack Mr. Onanuga because he is demarketing the country. Nigeria's leadership is poor, and it is a shame for a member of this government to say such thing. Nigeria is not poor. Comrade Oyibo Prosper with that one. Let's see. This one says, China is a poor country. Nigeria is a poor country. Please invite an economist to explain how the wealth of a nation is measured. It's you don't need an economist, for that. There are certain indices that you have to use to measure. For instance, the GDP, the gross domestic product. You could also look at the inflation rate. You look at the employment rate. You look at there's so many factors, but most importantly the GDP, because it measures the buying and selling that has happened over a period of time in a locality, in a geographical space, and sometimes it also measures how that buying and selling, all of those trade, has affected negatively or positively the lives of people living in that area. So yeah, that's like the layman's explanation I can give to you on that one. This one is saying righteousness exalts a nation and sin destroys people. You say e-money would also, I don't get this part. Okay, e-money would also enable everyone pay taxes that can be channeled to inspire production over importation. Chukemeka, okay, I'm trying to understand your message there, but thank you nonetheless. This one says, Nigeria ever been anything but a third world country? We are a very poor country sitting on rich natural resources that we are too poor and lazy to harness. For those graduating and leaving Nigeria without contributing to the country, they should be told that their parents didn't build the universities. They are built or were built with public funds and subsidized with public money. Ujuye with that one. And yes, I think Ujuye is actually saying what I was trying to explain, that most especially in the medical part of the educational sector, that there is some kind of subsidy. But someone has just sent me a very long read. It looks like a research paper, but I'm going to try this. It says, it is unfortunate how these people are coming up with propaganda just to make Nigerians not to see their failures, which I believe that is only the gullible that will believe them. Even Nigeria is not a poor country, but yet a very, very was used to classify the poorness. Nigeria is one of the top 5 richest countries by GDP per capita, and you come out to say Nigeria is poor, not just poor, but very, very poor country. Yet your legislators are one of the highest paid in the world. I can't believe that such an informed person would come out to make such a remark. If you're in such a position in government and you made such a comment, what would you say then about countries like Burundi, Somalia, Zambia, Burkina Faso, Guinea-Bissau, Mali, and so on that are amongst the poorest countries in Africa? For me, there is no solution again from them to offer, so they will definitely come up with propagandas. It will be another unfortunate... I think it will be rather unfortunate for an adult that believed in that unfortunate misleading remark. This is the 21st century, my goodness. There is Google for you list. Research the 10 richest countries in Africa and 10 poorest countries in Africa by GDP per capita. For the nurses, I think that is anti-people because they didn't school on government scholarship. Please present let's organize a crusade for Nigeria's economic revival now. The GDP per capita. All right, thank you very much. Let's read one more, then I'll open the phone lines again. I think I do have time. This one says, let's see. Anyone that tells you that Nigeria is a poor country, that person will not escape poverty. God, is that the prayer you want to pray this afternoon? I will have to post on that. But you said, forget about prayer. Now, today we begin to pray for our leaders. The more we pray for them, the more they siphon our money from Tangod Ability at Swegbu. All right, thank you very much, Tangod there. Do I have more messages? I've got a lot of messages. Can I read them on? This one says, good afternoon, Nigerian info. The new nursing verification policy as a solution to nurses leaving the country is unreasonable. Tying down nurses for 2 years before they travel to work abroad isn't a solution. They will work 2 years and still travel. You're left with less experienced, fresh nurses from their training institutions with poor human resources to train them. Do you then tie down the senior nurses if when they decide to travel? They say they subsidize education. Have you seen the quality of the subsidized education such that they can't train the children? Yeah, many people are traveling out due to worsening economy, not only health workers. The labor market is suffering. Do you then tie down citizens? You did not drop your name, but I get wonderful message there. Let's see. This one says Nigeria is poor because of too much looting in the system. They have looted our country dry. Happy World Radio Day from Hector. All right, thank you. Let's see what we have on Facebook. I try to see that I cover everywhere. Onuegbu Ugo says Nigeria is poor of ideas to move our economy forward, poor in ideas to make us a producing nation. My blame goes to the judiciary who puts us in this quagmire. Nayanwi Beratam says, good afternoon, Mr. Kalada. Nigeria is a very poor country. Our wealth is overestimated. Nigeria is very poor. Our National Assembly members are driving bulletproof SUV with long convoy, millions of naira for palliatives and thousands of aids. And Nigeria is very poor. Nigeria is very poor, and our ministers are driving bulletproof SUV with long convoy. And is Nigeria poor for its citizens and not for the political class, you ask? You said dollar is above 1,500 naira at the official window because we are not producing anything that we can sell our naira. All we are consuming, or all we do is consume in Nigeria, and we consume imported, and it is in dollars. So what do we expect? And then you touched on the 42,000 nurses leaving Nigeria in 3 years. You say more will leave because out there the Nigerian nurses are well paid and taken care of. God bless Rivers State. And Opene Emeka says Nigeria is not really a poor nation, just that our so-called leaders are poor in mind. Thank you, he said. Michael Friday says, what I understand by poor is when you're poor in reasoning. So Nigeria is poor in reasoning. All right, I think that's let's see. Newton Ikure says dollar is above 1,500 naira at the official window. Nigeria is on a steady march to the precipice. Soon the plunge will be taken. By the way, Brother Kalada, how are you coping with the heat wave? Can you afford to run your AC overnight using your prepaid meter? Newton Ikira, maybe one of these days we should talk about the heat wave. I'm going to maybe get an expert on the environment to come, because my brother, it's really, really hot out there. You bathe every 30 minutes and you come out, you're sweating. I mean, you come just as you leave the bathroom, you're already sweating. But I think we have to step on the break right now. It's time for the business news. When I come back, we'll talk about something very interesting. Just stay tuned.